Good morning and welcome to my vlog, Wisdom for Today. Have you ever noticed that as we get older, that sitting down becomes more of a ritual? You start to let out a simple sigh of, ah. Maybe you're sitting down for that first or last cup of coffee of the day and you sigh. Or you're sitting down to watch TV or listen to music and you go, oh, and you lean back. Or you're sitting down after a walk or finishing a chore, there's this natural sigh of relief that the task that you wanted to do is completed. Have you also ever noticed that when we stand up, there's a similar ritual? As we get older, we start to groan. We start to complain about our bones, that it's not as easy as it used to be to stand up. When we stand up to do something. Sometimes when we're angry, we'll stand up to emphasize an argument. Sometimes when we need something to do, we'll stand up immediately, or we hear bad news, we'll stand up immediately. You know, there's a passage about Jesus sitting down that reminds me of God's work in our life. It's found in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 3. And it says, the sun is the radiance, that's the reflection or glory of God's glory, the exact representation of his being. So that's an argument that Jesus and God are one, sustaining all things by his powerful word. That's the power Jesus has just by his presence. And it says, after he provided, meaning Jesus, for the purification of sins, he sat down at the right hand of the majesty in heaven. He sat down. You know, there was a time that when a king sat down, you understood the conversation was over. He would rise for different arguments within a court, and he would listen very patiently. But when he sat down on his throne, judgment was going to be pronounced, and you knew it was time to be quiet. Because whatever the decision was, it was once and forever. The king had made up his mind. When Jesus sat down at the right hand of the Father, our salvation was secure. Our position was secure in Jesus. You know, when I think of purity, I sometimes think of things I should do or shouldn't do and self-discipline. But when God thinks of purity, he thinks of my position in Jesus Christ, of where I am with him. Because in Colossians 3 it says that God has raised us to sit in the heavenlies beside God, the Almighty, besides Jesus, who is our advocate. I can sit down and sigh, knowing my salvation is secure. My position in Jesus Christ is secure. And Christ is there whenever I need to cast a burden on him, or I have the perspective of sitting next to him, so I know that there are things for me to do in his glory. This Sunday at our church, we'll be talking about the purity that we have in Jesus Christ, and Christ's sacrifice is once and for all. I pray that I'll see you this Sunday in church at Calvary Presbyterian Church on the upper level in the sanctuary at 10 o'clock. But for those of you who aren't in our neighborhood, I pray that you'll find a Bible-believing church that you can go in and sit down. And remember, when you can't stand anymore, God is standing for you. And because he sat down, his work is completed. God's blessings, and have a good day.